Hello, it's Diane. I have a small journal I want to show you. This journal has been on a journey. This was a custom order for someone in Singapore. I mailed this journal out to Singapore on December 28th. She never got it. And we waited and waited and waited, and she never got it. So I refunded her. And then last week it appeared in my mailbox. The wrapping was torn in a couple of places, but the book was intact. The only thing is that there was a crease down the center because it's a little bit bendable. This cover is. It wasn't a real thick cover, so it got bent somehow, somewhere along the way. Who knows where, because it did a lot of traveling. But I want to show it to you, and I'm going to list it in my shop because the customer said that she would take a pass on it. You know, she'd waited for it, she got her money back, and just decided she's going to wait for another journal. So this will be available to someone who would like to give it a home, a final resting place. So I'll just go through it quickly because there's already a video somewhere on my channel for this. So it's only got 2 signatures because it's a small journal, and I did not create a new spine because it was pretty as it was. And I just put a little gold paint on that emblem so you could see it better. I left the end papers because it was pretty, kind of an Art Nouveau design, and the library sticker on it. Some crocheted lace and some of my sequined fiber here. And a little collage with a vintage stamp, and this is from a Polish songbook, and this is from a botanical book. Of a vintage ticket and a vintage milk bottle top. This is a vintage little card, snap card, and this is from the Probe game. Some stamping. Here's another stamp from Czechoslovakia, I believe. This is the Polish songbook. This is a little vintage gift package sticker. Okay, in this pocket there's a little stamp sewn on there, but there's a vintage playing card with this really beautiful lady and her dog. This is from the front of this book with the beautiful illustrations. And this is a vintage prescription form. And I paper clipped it in so it doesn't slide around. Vintage ledger paper. There's a lot of vintage in this book. This is from a book about a vintage book about antiques. Did some stamping here. Again, a vintage playing card. This is Sorry. A vintage receipt from Meredith Bottling Works in Towanda, Pennsylvania. And just a scrap. This little sale tag came from Denise's shop, and this is a sticker that came with my vintage gift wrap. So it's to decorate packages with. This is from a calendar. It's not vintage, it's 1996, but I made a little pocket out of it. It's a little desk calendar. And this is just a music sheet attached to coffee dyed index card. This is a label that I purchased from an Etsy seller for peppermint cordial. This is vintage wallpaper, a couple of probe cards tucked in. And a little miniature playing card. I love those cards. Some seam binding. This is vintage ledger too, a billhead paper. And then I stamped on a scrap of canvas and stitched it on. This is a vintage gift sticker and then a couple of tags. Second signature has the front paper with this pretty illustration on it from this book. It was either from the front or the back of the book. Again, botanical book. This is from a math book, and this is a stamp. It's not a tuck spot. I glued it down so this wouldn't be too floppy, but there's room to write. This is a butterfly punched from vintage wallpaper. This is just something I stamped and stapled on. Vintage clue game sheet. Another stamp. Polish songbook. Little gift sticker. These came from an old yearbook. Vintage ticket. This is from the Masterpiece game. It's Marc Chagall. And I cut this out of coffee dyed file folder. This is vintage lotto card that I cut up. This was stamped with the vintage lawyer's stamp that I found at a flea market or something. Yeah, it was a flea market last year. Then we have a vintage receipt from Walter Chaffee in Ulster, Pennsylvania, which is really close to Towanda, Pennsylvania, where that other one came from. And this is a vintage American Legion, like a, what do you call it? Well, this is an honor roll certificate, it says. 25 cents. And then some fabric at the back with a couple of tags and a library pocket on the back. You can see where the book got bent in its travels. And I put a library card in here of Hallmark, from Hallmark, The Beauty of Easter. Along with this book, I will include these little tidbits. So I will list this in my shop, and if you are interested in it, it will be there for you, unless somebody gets there first. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that this little book finds a home finally. Bye-bye.